All right, guys, so welcome to the Soccer Doc Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Aaron Stairs, and today we've got a really exciting guest. We've got Johnny Clifford, the head men's soccer coach at St. Mary's University. How's it going, Johnny?
I'm good, mate. Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
Good, thank you. Thank you very much for being here. It's crazy times that we're in right now, right, with everything going on. How's it been for you and the team with still kind of running things with your off-season training and not being able to be in close contact with everybody?
Yeah, I mean, obviously not ideal for anyone right now, but trying to always make the best of any situation. We were pretty fortunate that we did get to play a few spring games. We got to play a couple of little in-house tournaments, and we got to play UIW this spring. So we're in a kind of good position that we got to get some games in, but it's really tough for everybody. Everyone's struggling the same. From our point, we do weekly team Zoom meetings, silly little competitions that we can do to keep the guys engaged. And I'm very fortunate to have a great group of seniors in our team right now. We've actually got 12 seniors next year. It's a really, really big class, and those guys are, they make my job easy by, continuing to promote with the younger guys that they're going to keep training and just trying to do the best we can in this situation, which is what I think only anyone can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Just gotta keep the contact whenever you can, right, and just do what you can. I mean, that's what everyone's trying to do. Yeah. And I know we mentioned it kind of prior to the recording here, but I mean, the worst case scenario being things like St. Edward's, where they just cut their program completely. That's got to be a shock not only to them but to everybody in the conference. So kind of what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, really, really disappointed. BY, the head coach of St. Ed's, a good friend of mine and someone that I trust. And, St. Mary's and St. Ed's have got a great rivalry, the Battle of the Saints. And, but we never want to see that. For those student athletes to lose their home, basically, and for us to lose, one of our biggest rivals and great competition. And that's what makes sport great, right? Like having rivals and having competition. And, very disappointing for the conference and from my point of view, really, really, really should be careful what I say, I guess, but very, very strange decision.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What's the biggest shock of all of it is that it's not like it's a new program. It's a prestigious program that has a solid record of always kind of finishing in the top 3 in conference. Like their consistency and their track record is awesome. So, I mean, for them to just come out of nowhere and say, nope, the program's dissolved, they're not going to be playing next year, like it's crazy.
Yeah, very, very, very strange decision. And once again, my thoughts go out to BY and everybody at St. Ed's. Like, I think BY's been there for 15, 16 years. So for just something like that to happen straight away, and such a great program, and so they're a staple in Division 2 soccer. So it's sent shockwaves through, and unfortunately there's some others that have followed suit. But we can do we can only do the best we do, and try and look after our own program and continue to progress as normal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I don't know how much you can say on the topic or not on this, but I mean, being so close to Austin, and I know they're kind of allowing their players, if they're wanting to transfer, to kind of reach out to other places. Have you had any contact with any of their players at all?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they've got some really good players, and some guys that we're definitely interested in. It's a difficult position for me because we brought in 17 new players 4 years ago, right? So 4 years ago we brought in 17 new players. 14 of those were freshmen. Well, those freshmen are now seniors, and they've went through a huge period of turnaround and growth and getting a little bit better every year. Culminating with last year winning our first ever conference title. And now we have a certain amount of people we have in our squad, and for me to look at boys from other schools that have unfortunately went through this and bring them in, well, it kind of means someone probably needs to go from our squad, which I'm not really willing to do at this time, and don't really feel like it's the right move. But you watch this space. I'm sure there'll be a couple of boys on our team next year, but stay tuned for those announcements when they come.
Yeah, we'll stay tuned for it for sure.
Yeah.
And that it kind of touches on the point, I mean, the incredible like improvement that we've seen kind of from an outside perspective with the St. Mary's program over the past 4 or 5 years, right? Especially with, culminating this last year, the conference title, Sweet 16, everything else going on, right? An incredibly successful season.
Yeah.
What has that process been like in the building process, right? You kind of touched on revamping the entire team. I mean, there's so many different facets of that, not just personnel when it comes to changing a program to get to the success that you guys have had. So what's been the secret to success in that aspect?
It might sound a little bit cliche, but we just worked really, really hard. I'm young and recently married, but I don't have any kids right now, and I really feel like I pour my whole life into those boys and try to make them better. And 2 years ago, when I took over as a head coach, I kind of made the decision to play more of a kind of high tempo pressing style, and that was a big adjustment, right? Asking the guys to cover more ground than they've ever covered before. So many increased sprints and so much higher tempo all the time. And we just work really, really hard in training. We get out there every day and we go after it. And I've got a really good coaching staff behind me of a mixture of some younger guys and some older guys that give me good insight. And I feel like, to be honest, I feel like we work harder than most other teams. Like, we've got a lot of talented players. That huge recruiting class that we done 4 years ago were all in their junior year, so those guys are really focused. A lot of them went away and played in the PDL or the NPSL over the summer to make themselves better. And we got a little bit of luck this season. We stayed clear of a lot of injuries, which you could call luck or you could call science. But we just felt like we put a lot in, and if you get a little bit lucky here and there and the ball breaks you for now, and maybe some other teams had some down years, you can make excuses. But I felt like we were one of the best teams in the country this year. And to lose to Cal State LA, we lost to them on penalty kicks. They were undefeated on the season before that. Actually, our MVP of the whole conference was the only guy that we lost 5-4 on penalties. So the only guy that missed a penalty was our MVP penalty kick taker usually, Ollie Wright. But we were there, and they lost in the final. So they won every game after that, I think 2-0, 3-0, 3-0. So we were there, we only started 2 seniors in that game against Cal State LA. So, we'll be back in 2020, and there's more. We feel like we left something on the field, we feel like we had a little bit more to give.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely a heartbreaking end to the season, right? Especially with, like you were saying, I was streaming the game actually through the Rattler Network on that one, and seeing him miss that penalty, knowing that he was kind of like your star man.
Yeah.
How did that like right immediately after that match, like what was the feel after the match there, and kind of how did you console Ollie in that moment? How did he respond in that moment afterwards?
I was just incredibly proud of them. Like, to be honest, they were better than us, right? They're well known for being one of the highest budget teams in Division 2. They're the big time guy. Their head coach is one of the assistants at LAFC, and they have everything at their disposal, right? And to compete with those guys, and I just felt like the boys could not have gave any more. I'm a really emotional guy, and I wear my heart on my sleeve. But when I brought them together, I couldn't help but burst into tears. I was so proud of them. I was so proud of everything they'd done. And with regards to Ollie, like, the best players in the world miss penalty kicks, right? So I just put my arm around him and I told him it was all right, and he apologised, and of course there was no need to apologise. It was a good save by the goalkeeper, and that's football, and you win and you lose. But for me, it's more about how we deal with adversity and how we move forward from that. So we've spoke about it a lot. We've spoke about how we move on from that and how we come back, and we'll use it as motivation for next season.
Yeah, absolutely. And building on that for next year, what's the recruiting class look like for next year? Who you're bringing in? And,
I think it's the best class I've brought in, to be honest. I think the success that we had last year, it kind of opened the doors to some guys that maybe we wouldn't have had a chance of getting before. Most notably, we have Edu Benato coming in, he's going to be a 1-year transfer student, graduating and coming in to do his master's degree. He's a first-team All-American, scored 16 goals this past season in his conference from a centre midfield position. Played for me in the PDL a couple of years back. So I've known him for a while and kept my eyes on him, and a big-time recruit who had every top D2 in the country after him. We have a really good boy coming in from Spain. And, more so now, we have for the first time, we have a few DA boys from the States coming in. So we have a kid called Collins Gatu coming in from the Dynamo DA. He's a 6'3" left-footed centre-back who, predominantly kids like that don't really come to small Division 2 schools. But we have him and a boy from Austin called Kevin Daniels, who's at the Lone Star DA as well. And for me, it's a big difference that I've noticed with the domestic recruiting has become a lot easier for me, I guess, after the success that we had last season. But I think it's on paper, it's the best class I've brought in. So, really, really excited for it, and very, very ambitious that we can compete for a national title again this year.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. What does that recruitment process look like for you on a yearly basis, right? What kind of factors play into your decisions when you're looking at bringing people in, especially when you kind of have to plan for multiple years when you're losing so many people every year coming in, right? What does that process look like? What factors go into it?
Well, it's different every year, right? So like this year, we only lost 3 seniors. So it was kind of we were just looking for a kind of a niche player, a little bit here, a little bit there. But whereas you talk about our 2021 class, we're graduating 12, 13 seniors next year. So at that point, we're looking for everything. People say, what are your needs for 2021? And I say, well, I lose my goalkeeper and my whole back line. So I need basically everything. But a lot of the time, I think I have a little bit of a different approach to recruiting. A lot of the time, I'm not really looking at, certain positions. I'm just looking for good football players and good kids that have got the right attitude and the right work rate. Obviously, we don't have, the same funding that some of these schools like Cal State LA have, or Midwestern State or anything like that. But we look to try and accomplish more with less, which is something I say all the time. And bringing in guys like, for instance, one of our captains next year, Alan Perrault, out of Austin, well, somewhere between San Antonio and Austin. He's from Hill Country, actually. He's someone that, openly wanted to go to St. Ed's, wanted to go to a couple other different schools, and, we took a chance on him and brought him in, and, he led our defence this year, most minutes played in the team, and scored a couple of big goals for us the past year, and is a real leader in our team. And not to mention that he's an RA, he's a member of the fraternity, he's very involved in the community volunteering, and he's an organic chemistry major. So we feel like we have to accomplish more with less, and I kind of look for those kids that have the chip on their shoulder that have maybe been overlooked by other programs and want to come in and be impactful. And I've made a good habit of getting them fired up in that way that, they didn't want you. So it's proved pretty successful so far. And
yeah, that's hilarious. That's a good way to push the pain button for sure.
Yeah, but we look for complete people. It's not enough to be a good football player. We have a really high, as you know, St. Mary's is a really high academic requirement. So we need to find kids that take their studies seriously and want to be good people. And we do mandatory study hall. We do work in the community and volunteering work. And I really demand a lot from the guys. And I tell them all the time, academics or community service, those things don't need to suffer for you to be successful on the field. We can be successful in everything we do if we want it badly enough. So, it's just try to teach these guys to be good people.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what we've seen as a trend with St. Mary's over the past few years is there's been quite a few more international recruits coming in, right?
Yeah.
What has your opinion been on local kids and the standard of local soccer compared to the international recruiting that you're doing?
Well, I think it's definitely getting better in San Antonio, and it's getting better every year since I've been here. And We do have a lot of San Antonio boys on our team. You know, we have Alan Barr and Alan Perol that I mentioned previously, Marlon Flores, Graham Torres. There's a lot of good San Antonio boys. Just the way that it works out for us, sometimes my niche obviously is kind of with the foreign recruiting. So a lot of the time, the top DA boys or the top academy boys, they want to go to SMU, or they see the Division 1 thing and they want to go to Incarnate Word or something like that. And I feel like I need to kind of go overseas to get those top level guys. But certainly always trying to get the best boys in San Antonio, because for me it just increases our name in the community. It helps with attendances, and certainly if I can get a good player from San Antonio, I want to jump on him as much as possible. It just proves a little bit difficult with the D1 aspect for me, so I kind of have to go for my own.
No, it makes sense for sure. I think it's a lot of when local kids they want to go somewhere else for college, right? They don't want to stay local.
Of course. So but we do have some good San Antonio boys on the team, and they're a massive part there. I mean, Marlon Flores, he scored the game-winning goal, double overtime goal against St. Edward's last year, which I guess has turned out to be their last ever game. But Marlon's, he's a San Antonio born and bred, and scored that game winner this year for us, and 3-2 overtime win, and certainly a moment I'm sure he'll remember for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. So for kids who are looking into this and listening to this podcast to the local clubs, maybe they're not playing DA, but they're playing like ECNL, they're playing kind of in those other top leagues in the area. What things are you looking for specifically out of from a technical standpoint, from someone who's playing at that club level?
I mean, can I speak generally on recruiting? I would say we're always looking for people that work hard, right? Like, I'll go out and watch games sometimes, and I'll see a kid really talented and beat a couple of players and put the ball in the top corner, but maybe on the next play he loses the ball and he's playing his teammate, or he's not quite working hard enough. And in my style of play, the one thing I can't negate is work rate. You have to work hard. So a lot of the time I'm looking for those kids that are just really, I feel like they're just really working hard. And obviously, I get hundreds of emails every other day from kids that want to come and play. And, if I spent time replying to every single person, it would be all I would do. But, I'm looking for the people that see St. Mary's as their top choice, and, people that want to be successful people and want to compete at a high level, and, have the right attitude and want to come and learn, and I think are mentally tough enough to deal with me.
Yeah, it seems like there's always that misconception, right, of kind of what coaches are looking for when it comes to these recruitment events, when you're going to the kind of these showcase tournaments or these ID camps or whatever the case may be, right? And sometimes what we guys hear a lot is that kids tend to change the way that they play because of what they think they need to do to get seen or to stand out on the field in that one moment, right? And I'm sure there's more factors that go into your recruiting process and your kind of your deliberation rather than just one time seeing someone, right? I'm sure you're looking into other factors as well that surround that kid in terms of the coaches that they've had, the teams they played on, who else you're talking to and whose opinion and things like that.
I'm on their social media looking at things. I'm going out and sneaking out and watching them play indoor soccer games. Like, kids, I hear that a lot. Like, kids think they need to do more, but what they just have to play their own game. If you're good enough, you'll get spotted. We're all out there working hard trying to recruit kids.
No, absolutely. So, I mean, that's really the big thing that I know people are wanting to clear up is kind of how do I get to college, right? Everyone has that dream. Everyone wants to do it. Everybody, wants to do it, but they don't have actionable steps to take, right? So for someone who's maybe not quite at the age of recruitment yet, but maybe in that kind of, 14, 15 kind of time age group, what do you recommend they work on from a, either a technical or sport performance standpoint? What actionable steps can they take to set themselves up a year or two in the future?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you could have mentioned like ID camps and things there, and for me, those are huge. I mean, without a doubt, ID camps are my number one way of recruiting. I think we've signed 17 players from our ID camps over the past 3 years. So if you look through our roster, any domestic player on my roster has probably been through an ID camp. And not only that, I'll go out to other schools, but you know, just being proactive about it as much as possible. You know, unfortunately, you know, every year I'll get emails in June or July from a kid that's telling me he's looking for a place to play in the next couple of months, and you know, it's really obvious to me that he's not done his due diligence and been proactive about it. But you know, email coaches and don't just email coaches once. Don't be offended if they don't get back to you. Email them, give them updates, let them know what showcase you're at. Why St. Mary's, right? You would be astonished at how many emails I'll get that will say, "Hey, Coach Clifford, you know, Midwestern State has always been a dream school. I would love to come and play for you there." Well, I'm not the coach at Midwestern State, so straight away that stops me being interested in you, right? I'll also get, "Hey, Coach Peter, St. Mary's is top interest in my school." Well, my name's not Peter, so once again, tells me you've copied and pasted the same email, or we'll even see the insert school here sometimes, right? So we're not looking for these phenomenal 10-minute highlight tapes. We're looking for, you know, 2 to 3 minutes showing your best qualities, telling us where we can watch you, when we can watch you, and more so what makes St. Mary's stand out for you. So, you know, did you see that we're losing a right back this year? What makes you think you can take that position? You know, be specific. Narrow down your top 5 to 7 schools and have an active interest in those schools, and keep the coaches updated with what you're doing, how you're doing, and where we can come and see you play.
Yeah, absolutely. And it helps kind of niche down too, right? You definitely want, if you're playing college soccer, you have that kind of goal for yourself. Don't just give a blanket email out to 1,000 coaches, right? Do your homework and see what school is right for you first, because you're going to a school. But then also from that, look at the current roster. You know, does their style of play match how you play, right? Little things like that make a big difference, like you were just saying. But then when you've done that due diligence, your 1,000 school list may only be 5 or 6 schools. Exactly. At that point in time, there's no need for copy and paste. You need to send a decent email to them.
Yeah, of course. And you've got to let us know, like, you know, what makes you different from everybody else, and why is that school that you're contacting the school that is your dream school? Like, have you been out to watch games? Have you been following them on social media? Have you been watching them? Like, you know, give me something specific that lets me know that you want to be here, and there's we're your top choice, or we're one of your top few choices. Those are usually the ones that resonate most with me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, moral of the story there, guys, is you know, be specific with your emails, stand out, show your best qualities, and stand out that way. Don't just copy and paste your emails. Make sure you do your homework on the team itself. Yeah, for sure.
And we don't need to see videos of you juggling the ball in your back garden or hitting shots at your little brother. You know, good footage and good, clear, concise things that we can watch.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I think that basically covers what we wanted to kind of get out of you today from a recruiting standpoint. I know a lot of our kids in town here are going to get a lot of, you know, good value from that. And, you know, even if it's not going to St. Mary's, at least with their college recruitment process in general, right?
Yeah.
So appreciate all your time today.